Days of Dunder. Jamaican rum's mystery ingredient. Moonshine Life Recipes Group. Hogo. Funk. The smell of overripe banana. Jamaican rum is uniquely beloved in the spirits world for its powerful, easily identifiable pungent fruitiness. Connoisseurs of Jamaican funk utter phrases like, high ester count, and long fermentation. But nothing gets the rum nerd more enthused than talk of Dunder, the mysterious ingredient that allegedly makes Jamaican rum extra funky. Quick note before we proceed. Don't miss the full collection of Jamaican rum articles and deep dives. Exactly what comprises Dunder is shrouded in mystery, but dig around a bit and you'll find references to goat heads, dead bats, and worse, churning in a lethal, volatile mass of evil death stored in an earthen pit, presumably somewhere near the distillery for easy access. Heck, even I'm guilty of spreading these tales. Throw a few scoops of this black death into the molasses wash, and voila! Instant hogo. Or so many people think. The reality is far less simple, and way more interesting. As part of an ACR tour of rum industry influencers, including Martin Kate, Camper English, Peter Holland, and Wayne Curtis, I received an intense, behind-the-scenes look at Hampton Estate, ground zero of high hogo rums. Standing in the hot, dimly lit fermentation area with distillery manager Vivian Wisdom, we grilled him for nearly an hour on every aspect of how the wash that goes into Hampton's stills is created. No detail was spared. Fermentation times, pH levels, quantities, we wanted to know all. Dunder. The first and foremost thing we learned is that Dunder isn't what most people think it is. At every distillery we visited in Jamaica, the term Dunder was used to refer to what's left in the pot stills after a distillation run. The common distiller's term for these remainders is stillage. Most Jamaican distilleries take their Dunder stillage and dispose of it, either spreading it on the cane fields under controlled conditions, or processing it to make it less environmentally harmful. However, Hampton retains their Dunder in wooden vats for use in subsequent fermentations. I'll come back to exactly how in a bit. It's important to know that adding stillage to the wash for subsequent distillation runs isn't unique to rum. There's a close parallel in the bourbon world, where it's called sour mash. Important. What follows may shock you. Rest assured, the act of distillation effectively separates the ethanol and flavorful organic compounds, i.e. the finished rum, from the scary things that go into the wash prior to distillation. What the muck? If Dunder is just stillage, where does the cesspool of vileness that folks erroneously call Dunder come into play? Standing on a platform in a room filled with giant tanks of dark, thick Dunder liquid, we peered down into a large box 8 feet below. Within the box was a dark sludge with bubbles on the surface. It absolutely gave the appearance of a box of bad news, straight out of a horror movie. Vivian told us the ooze is called muck, a giant bolus of bacteria that creates a soup of carboxylic acids. The muck and its vast quantity of acids go into the wash along with several other interesting ingredients you might not expect in rum making. Standing over the muck pit, I instinctively clutched my camera and cell phone a bit tighter. The smells from the Dunder tanks and muck were off the chart malevolent. Any right-thinking person would have beat a hasty path to the exit, but nobody in our group was in a hurry to leave. Here, in the heart of Hampton, was the closest any of us had ever come to experiencing what a rum distillery might have looked like 100 years ago or more. In a nutshell, and simplifying somewhat, the majority of flavors in distilled spirits come from esters. Esters are organic compounds with names like ethyl butyrate, amyl acetate, and ethyl acetate. They form when alcohol molecules chemically combine with acids. For example, ethyl butyrate is formed when ethyl alcohol molecules combine with butyric acid. Fun fact: butyric acid by itself has the smell of human vomit. But combine it with ethyl alcohol, and the resulting ethyl butyrate molecule smells of fruit and pineapple. Likewise, acetic acid, the primary ingredient in vinegar, combines with ethanol to form ethyl acetate, which has a sweet smell. Ethyl acetate is by far the most dominant ester found in rums, but a typical bottle of rum contains hundreds of different esters. As we talked with Vivian, we got into details like pH levels, acids, and when each component of the wash is introduced. I was particularly pleased when Vivian explicitly called out butyric acid as one of the components found within the muck. With my wee bit of organic chemistry knowledge, I knew that meant lots of ethyl butyrate, i.e. pineapple, in the resultant rum. Hampton's addition of a big slug of muck to their mash acts to supercharge the ester production process. While all rums have esters, Jamaican rums are renowned for having very high levels of fruity esters, measured in the parts per million ppm. A very fruity, funky Jamaican rum like Wray and Nephew Overproof might have an ester count of 100 to 200 ppm. Hampton's Rum Fire Overproof clocks in at over 500 ppm. Taste it, and you'll have no doubt what funk is. But Hampton blows that out of the water, making a rum with an ester count in the 1600 ppm range, essentially undrinkable and used primarily for food flavoring. I wrote about this rum, named DOK. Enjoy. Moonshine Life Recipes Group.